Wait. Oh, shit. All right.
Funny joke, Lance. All right, welcome back to Seeing My Few with Nick and Lance.
Hi.
So I guess full transparency. We recorded this last week.
Yeah.
And the laptop ate it. So we're doing it again because apparently we liked Harley Quinn enough that when it ate our review of Harley Quinn, we're like, we'll do it again next week.
Yeah, and it was, man, we had some volume there, man. Like, there was some weight to that.
We were excited about it. So if we're less excited this time, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're gonna try and do it justice, but
and tackle it from some different angles. So
yeah, we're gonna. Oh man, I can't believe it. I'm sorry if I got a deer in headlights look there for a second, man, but shit. All right, so
yeah, I guess we'll start with our scores, and then we'll kind of give you a second to like turn it off if you're like actually want to watch the show, because then we're going to start talking about it a bit more in depth about things we liked and didn't like about this particular season. So Harley Quinn season 3, I didn't say season 3, I just said Harley Quinn. We'll probably make mention of what we liked about season 1 and 2 in passing and just in discussing. So we're going to assume once you're okay with spoilers for season 3, that probably means you're okay with spoilers for season 1 and 2. So just be forewarned.
Look, we just came into this game like roughly a year ago. So those other seasons are already out and we had other stuff we wanted to talk about. Now,
and this one's a free bonus episode that's just kind of coming out on the weekend.
Yeah. So if you want to see us go back and talk about season 1 or 2, put it in the comments. Like, let us know. Or if there's some other DC animated hotness that you want us to watch, just put it down below.
Yeah.
And we'll go back and watch it. But yeah, we're dropping on season 3 because it just came on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, the last episode wrapped 2 weeks ago now.
Yeah, and then that random person or two that has clicked on this that said, they're kind of interesting. We were trying to get your eyeballs, but we love the eyeballs we already had.
Yeah, it's also just a matter of the fact that it's new, and we kind of want to talk about it. And if we put it out as a co-video, it wouldn't come out until October.
Yeah. So
and it's not very Halloween themed or October themed, so we're just gonna throw it out as a bonus video.
Yeah. So enjoy.
So I mean, I think I remember what you said, but I also remember what I thought you were gonna say for your score for the season 3 in its entirety. So what would you give it between 0 and 10?
I would give this season an 8.
Which last time I said 8, and I was good because I was spot on. And now you don't believe me, but you should believe me. Last time when we recorded this, I'm like, I bet he's going to give it an 8 because I thought you would give it a 7, but I rounded up because with you I tend to round up.
Did I pick 7 last time?
No, you got 8.
Oh, okay, good. At least I'm consistent.
Yeah, you got it. You got your same score down, which is good because if you said 7, I'm gonna be like, what the fuck happened this week?
Fuck you, we're starting over.
What happened this week that you like? I just like the show 1 point less now this week.
I had time to think about it.
I had time to think and brood like the Batman.
Yeah. So Nick, on a scale from 0 to 10, what would you give season 3?
This one is a 7 for me. Whereas I think the other 2 seasons were hovering more closely to 8. This season was just a little not quite as good for me, which we'll get into once we kind of hit the spoiler section.
So further full transparency, I remembered you gave it a 7, and I picked 8. And then you surprised me by saying, I didn't like it as much as season 1 and 2. So I just fudged the numbers to give myself that boy is good cred. So yes, last time you got
off by 1 as is typical.
Yeah, last time I thought you'd give it an 8, you said 7. So I did remember that, and I was proud that I remembered that.
That's good. So, it's been a whole week.
Yeah.
A week plus dad brain.
And work brain and every other brain. So, all right.
And Lance brain. That's the worst one of all.
No shit. I think it's all of the different brains come together to make the Voltron of fucking Lance brain. So, but anyways.
So let's start breaking down season 3. Well, not breakdown, I guess. Well, let's break down our thoughts on season 3.
So, are you still there?
Yeah, it's on HBO Max. Go watch it. Yeah. I think we'd both recommend it with a 7 and an 8. I think that's a pretty hard recommend there.
So some of you might be thinking, well, Lance and Nick, I haven't watched any of the Harley Quinn series, and you're trying to tell me to go watch season 3. Oh, no, I haven't watched season 1 and 2. We watched season 3 because we liked season 1 and 2, which means that we think that you might. I mean, I don't know you.
Yeah, this is one of those ones where there's a lot of violence, there's a lot of swearing, and
titties.
Well, it's not full on titties, but sex.
Full on engorged wieners.
No, but like implied sex.
Mm.
Like you see them like chilling afterwards, and some other jokes that would be a bit more sexual in nature. Whereas some people aren't into that shit. And if you're not into that, you're probably not going to enjoy the show. If you're not into watching Harley bash a skull and the skull burst into blood and eyeballs spew out,
and then immediately talking about eating her girlfriend.
Yeah.
If you're not amused by seeing DC do something full fucking balls out before Marvel did, that's what I think I love most about this show.
For it being, I mean, Marvel, Fox did it with DC with Deadpool. Where they let the superhero show just be unabashedly violent, and they've not done it with an animated thing because apparently cartoons are for kids.
Well, it's not only that, but I think also I'd like to think that Kaylee Cuoco has like some kind of creative control over the show.
She is an executive producer. How much that means, I think, varies from project to project.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but like I think that they started the pitch with she's fucking crazy, she likes violence, and let's ramp that shit up to 11.
Yeah.
And I think someone was just fucking crazy enough to be like, yeah, okay, let's let you do it.
It's you always have the Joker like pointing a gun at someone, pulling the trigger, and like that little bang thing would come out in the cartoons at least.
Yeah.
Why not just let him pull the trigger
and kill somebody,
and not be like off screen or implied, but actually you see the man like explode a bit.
Yeah.
Let's let the violence be show it for what it is.
I mean,
let it be nutty.
It's grand. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When I watched the first season of Harley Quinn, I was just kind of like, okay, this should be amusing. And then I got through for like the first 2 or 3 episodes. I was like, holy fuck, this show is great.
Yeah.
Then the second season came out, and I was like, okay, this is pretty. It's still pretty groovy. And then the third season came out, and I'll be honest with you, this was my favorite season out of all of them. But we'll get into it as we get through the episodes.
I think the second one is my favorite overall because like the first one, I'm kind of over the Joker. I mean, this portrayal of him is interesting, but the first season is just that's just who Joker is. In the second season, they kind of do like that. He lost his memory, and now he's going through this whole weird thing where they're being wacky with the Joker, and I think that's a bit more interesting than just kind of like, look, he's crazy and chaos, and you want to know how I got these scars, my God? I'm bored.
Yeah,
bored of that Joker.
Chaos Joker is interesting, but it's been done to death.
Yeah.
Chaos Joker that also cares about his family and his
I'll get you, Debbie, or whatever.
Yeah. Like that episode was. It's not my favorite episode, but it had highlights.
There was stuff in that episode I liked, but I didn't want to follow the Joker. But if we're going to follow the Joker, that's fun enough.
Yeah. It's Alan Tudyk does a great job voicing him too.
Yeah.
So let's start from the top.
Do we want to just go down some of the episodes and talk about them a little bit?
So I did this last time. We'll cover the main beats of like the voice cast. So you have Kaylee Cuoco as Harley Quinn. You have Lake Bell as Poison Ivy.
Yeah.
You have one of my favorite people in the world, Ron Funches. I fucking love that man. He just look at that picture.
He's so happy.
Yeah, like he's just a ray of sunshine. Christopher Maloney is Commissioner Gordon. Now Christopher Maloney is probably a name that you're like, I've heard that name before. He's been in a lot of those cop drama shows or whatever. I don't know if it's CSI, but it's like yeah, he did those for a while. But then he's also in another show that I'm eventually going to ask you to watch called Happy.
Okay. I mean, I know of it. I just haven't watched it.
I'm just going to ask you to watch the first season. Second season got really fucking weird, but like the first season I thoroughly enjoyed. You have Alan Tudyk as Clayface, and he also does the Joker. Tisha Campbell is Tawny. Andy Daly as Two-Face. You have James Gunn playing himself, apparently. Jim Rash as the mayor.
Yep. He was that in Community, right?
Ding, 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 ding. Yeah. You have other people that
Who's Carrie Walgreen?
Carrie Walgreen was Plastique.
Okay.
So, and that's the only reason you're seeing her picture is because she was in that.
She was in
episode.
that episode, yeah. Which is why you're not seeing like
JB Smoove.
Yeah, JB Smoove as Frank and Tony Hale as Dr. Psycho.
Oh yeah, Dr. Psycho. I liked Dr. Psycho, and then you also have Jason Alexander as Cyborgman.
Yeah, he's at least in this season as well.
And there's JB.
Yeah,
JB Smoove.
I like JB Smoove. He was in an episode of Castle where he was like a felon or whatever, and he wanted to go straight and become like a locksmith. And he's like, "Can I get your recommendation?" And the what's her name, Beckett, was like, "I'm not letting a criminal be a locksmith."
Well, I know how to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's like, come on, man.
you have Diedrich Bader as Batman.
Yeah.
Or otherwise known as
Diedrich Oswald.
Yeah. Or Patrick Bader, whatever.
Diedrich Oswald. Yeah. We gave him his first name, and then we gave him the first name from the Drew Carey Show.
You have Brianna Cuoco as Batgirl.
Okay.
Which I remember I brought that part up last time, and we were just kind of like, okay.
Last name, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it's got to be, I guess it's Kaylee.
Some sort of relation.
Yeah, I guess
Nepotism.
it's Kaylee's. Yeah, nepotism rules the day.
I guess that's what gets being an executive producer gets you.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
this family member is going to be in it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
She was good because I like that. I like that girl.
I'm pretty sure I was like related to Kaylee Cuoco at some time. So could you bring me on? I can also do a good burn. Anyways,
you just need a cup. You just need a cup to put in front of your mouth to give you the echo. There's no cups up here. I'm just saying, like, you just need a topping to give you the echo to be fully buried.
I don't know. I still think I do it pretty good.
That's good. You just need that. You need the interruption so that you don't hear it fully through the mic.
But if you're not going to get married, at least return the item.
The pasta maker.
Yes. Revenge. Anyways, so starting from the top, first episode was Harley. Mm-hmm. And that's when they were on their
Eat, Kill, Bang.
Yeah, or was it Fuck, Kill, Bang?
Eat, Kill, Bang tour.
Oh, okay. Yes. All right.
I think.
Sure.
I think it was a...
So we watched these last week. We did the recording. We had a very robust recording. And then Nick went, got bad news for you. And we found out we lost it.
Yeah. Well, I said that at the start.
Yeah. And then a week has now gone by.
So yeah, now we've got week degradation and it's not as fresh in the mind.
Yeah. So, and like literally I watched the last 3 episodes of this series the Friday before we did the recording. So it was like, it was in there, baby.
Oh yeah.
And then
I'd finished them like the day before too. Because I had watched them as they were coming out. Mm-hmm. And then we're like, let's just talk about Harley Quinn. So I watched all 10 of them again. So I've at least seen the show twice.
Yeah, I've seen it the one time through, and then I remember at some point after we discussed, because it was like late at night when we got finished with recording, and you were like, "Yeah, we don't have any of it." And then I remember bringing it up, and I was like, "Dude, do we really? We're not doing it tonight. Are we going to just do this next week?" And you were like,
So we can either move on, but I think we wanted to get this out.
Yeah. So, and I apologize if it's not as.
I think we'll still have some stuff about it. We'll still be on theme. If anything, we'll be more on theme, so we can finish it.
Yes.
And make sure that because we had talked for like an hour and 10 minutes and it was gone.
Yeah.
Maybe this one will only be 30, so we can get it in and it's there. Okay, good. We're good.
That'll be the one episode where people will scroll through and be like, "Oh my god, these motherfuckers talk forever. An hour, 20 minutes. Oh, 30 minutes. I'll watch this one." So,
I've already had a friend be like, "Man, you guys can sure go on." I'm like, "Yeah, we can."
Did he also tell you the part that you're not telling me is that other guy should shut the fuck up and stop deviating so much?
No, not that. It's just it said we can go on. Like it's you guys tangent a lot, but you say it. I'm like, yeah, we know we tangent.
We gust. We know. We are well aware of it.
That's kind of the point. I mean,
it's our stock and trade.
Yeah.
Like, you can watch a YouTube video about 2 guys that can tell you everything about the scene and where this guy got this shirt from and this accent's really done from this and they make this language from this language and this language put together. Us, you're not going to get any of that. It's just...
Where else are you going to hear someone go, "Happy Halloween"?
I am so impressed with myself I didn't spit take when you did that. Honestly.
I mean, you've actually told that story on one of these videos. That's when you were like, you know what we could do for Halloween? Happy Halloween. Have you heard that story? I'm like, yes, I've heard that story. I think they've heard that story too.
Okay, I guess it's going to be another Happy Halloween. God, I love you, Adam Sandler, but seriously, dude.
Yeah, I'm kind of over him.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
So
Harley.
Harley. So the Eat Bang Kill tour.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure it was Fuck Bang Kill, but anyways.
It might be.
So it's basically.
Well, it would be Fuck Bang Kill because fuck and bang are the same thing.
Could be the bang of a gun.
No. Well, then kill and bang. They're traveling around the world to eat all the different food, bang each other, and then kill people that piss them off. Eat, kill, bang. I think.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's eat, kill.
That makes more sense. Anyways, so this episode, I wasn't crazy about how the series started out because I like that they're together. Mm-hmm. I think they're cute together,
yes.
And I'm happy. I really like that they make each other happy.
Yeah.
But already from the beginning of the episode, you can already tell they're falling into some of the tropes that couples fall into, that they do on these shows. So Harley is basically doing the whole thing where
the overly attached girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah, super attached girlfriend, and she's overdoing it in a lot of areas, which makes
being like, today's our 3rd anniversary, and I did this, 3rd day anniversary. Today's our 4th day anniversary.
Yeah, and I got you the Queen of England, and she's going over the top.
Yeah.
And it's not only that, but it's also the whole thing of. I liked how they talked about how some people would rather be miserable and the other person be happy than be alone.
Yes.
Like, I'd rather be miserable with you than miserable without you.
Well, we're like, I'm miserable with you, but I'm making you happy.
Right.
And it's kind of like, it's not even necessarily that she's miserable. It's that she is trying to vicariously get happiness through someone else, and it's just not really working. Because that's how her previous relationship worked. She was vicariously trying to make the Joker happy, and it didn't work.
Right.
And this time, it's kind of like all Ivy was into this really big Eden project. She wants to get Ivy super involved in this thing again, and Ivy's into it.
So she's not at first.
Yeah.
So she's embarrassed, but
it's like your failed project that you're embarrassed by.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think what I thought was so nice about that particular episode is that they didn't talk about Eden at all, and then it was kind of like, oh well, I wanted to bring you back to this place where you started all of it, and this is like your passion project. She loves her enough to remember her passion projects and try and reinvigorate her, because even when she was like, oh my god, I'm so embarrassed, I did this wrong, I did that wrong, and she's like, oh no, like this is something that you're passionate about, and I'm here for it,
Yeah.
And then even though like she is super fucking bored, because I thought it was funny, she's like, what's the Wi-Fi? And she's like, this is paradise, there's no Wi-Fi. She's like, oh yeah, okay, no, that's great. I really liked how the series started out. It wasn't, in my opinion, the strongest episode.
Yeah. It's kind of a setup for the rest of the season.
Right. But yeah, it was a cute beginning. I really liked the whole part about the Queen of England, where she's like, I got you the Queen of England, and she's like, yeah, she just kind of ran in and snatched me, and she's like, yeah, no, maybe this is a bad idea, and then the jets converge on the invisible jet, and she just pushes her out the fucking plane, and Ivy's like, oh, and she's like, no, it's okay, she's wearing an invisible parachute.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, I hope that's a thing.
Which is just poor timing, because the last episode happened to air the same week or something that the Queen passed away. Sometimes you make jokes about people that are older, because there's plenty of things where like people have been joking about Betty White being alive, and her 100th birthday's coming up, and she'll be alive before now.
Yeah,
it's that kind of
yeah.
Oopsie poopsie.
It's not a Simpsons level of prediction, but
I predict this 99-year-old woman is gonna pass away. It's like, way to go, buddy.
Yeah,
Nostradamus over here.
Yeah, fucking that was a layup if I ever saw one. So, is there anything that stands out about that episode to you?
I thought that the setup was going to be for shit with the Suicide Squad, because they kidnap the leader of the Arkham. What's her name? Amanda Waller. And you're like, oh, maybe this season's going to be about the Suicide Squad coming after him. No, not really. It's just the Canadian exploder comes in, plastic, and then it's over. And I'm like, okay,
yeah,
I guess we're done with that, which is fine. I didn't want shit to do with it. But I've seen the Suicide Squad movies. I don't want the Suicide Squad in Harley Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, they did kind of do it later.
Well, they reference Suicide Squad in season 1. It's like, Amanda Waller keeps sending these T-shirts, and it says the Suicide Squad.
Right. Yeah, it was interesting, because they, in the episode, for some reason, they tried to like keep her in shadows and everything like that to like show you that it's not Amanda Waller. It's like, of course it's fucking Amanda Waller. Yeah. But yeah, I did think that was interesting. I did like the fact of the chaos of the show. It's like, to me, the show is almost borderline unpredictable on which direction they're going to go in. And I think that's what really appeals to me about it. Plus, it's just funny.
Yeah.
Watching them like use like full fucks and shits and everything like that when they're talking, like it's great.
Yeah, I find that amusing.
All right, so the second episode was There's No Ivy in Team.
Yeah, the one where Ivy's finally ready for her plan, but Harley Quinn has decided that since it's Ivy's plan, Ivy needs to be the leader, but she's not. She's not a good leader.
Yeah, well, she doesn't know how to lead.
She's always been doing it herself.
Yeah, she's always lone wolfed everything. So, this to me also wasn't one of my favorite episodes of the season. I thought it was good. I thought it had some funny one-liners that paid off later. Mm-hmm. Like, oh yeah, I want to totally take over the world, but not Mama Macaroni's. Because that place makes me I'm a honey for Mama Macaroni's or some shit like that.
I also like that when she was handing out the binders and Clayface was kind of giving out his whole, but what happens when the guy who goes out to take a smoke break, but he doesn't actually smoke, he just keeps that one loose cigarette. He's quit a long time ago, and it's like, stop. That's not gonna happen. And then that's the thing that goes wrong with her plan.
Yeah, I don't even like to say it, so I just like the smell of it. That's it's little callbacks like that on the show that just make it priceless. Mm-hmm. They're layups.
Yeah.
But they're funny fucking layups, man. That particular episode, I'm having a hard time remembering.
I thought they go get the mosquito and the amber so that she can get the thing that she needs. Mm-hmm. She tries to use the chemical on like the little daffodil. It comes up and explodes.
And it turns into something horrible.
And Frank's like, I'm not even going to tell you what he said, but it wasn't nice.
He goes, I'm not going to tell you. I'm not going to repeat what he said. Oh, but he hates your ass.
He hates your guys, yeah.
Yeah,
and then she gets the blood from the mosquito and the amber. She tries it again. The daffodil still like explodes. Or it comes out and it's cool, but then it mutates and it blows up the entire mall right before Bane's about to blow it up. But Frank gets supercharged.
Yeah. Okay, I vaguely remember that now. Lance brain, I'm telling you, it's
I remember. I can do the broad strokes. After a week.
So it's one of the highest rated episodes of the season.
That one's good.
That one came in at 8.
I think my favorite episode would be the next one.
The 83rd annual Villy Awards.
Yeah, just because I kind of like the play on like Harley's finally excited for a thing and Ivy's just super not fucking into it. But then kind of learns through Kite Man's new girlfriend that you're not here for yourself, you're here for her. Like she's excited about it. You show a little energy, be excited for it too, and kind of her being excited will kind of like let you feed off it.
So I know we talked about this last time, and I hate to bring it up again, but I loved Kite Man's character.
I wasn't really a huge fan, but mostly because of how his character was introduced. It's like super misogynistic and kind of like just assuming like the woman who's telling you like, dude, fuck off, is actually into you.
I didn't know that was really him.
Yeah, but I don't think you would make that like, why the fuck would you pick Billy Bob Thornton unless you had him?
I just didn't know he was voicing himself. I thought it was somebody doing a bad Billy Bob Thornton.
No.
Because to me it was a bad Billy Bob Thornton, but to find out it's him, that's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
So my favorite character in that particular episode was Golden Glider, Kite Man's new girlfriend.
Yeah, she's cool.
She is fucking adorable.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was interesting how. So I didn't like the way the episode started. Like Joker do, I fucking hated that song. It was so bad, but it was cringy to the point of like every other fucking song that comes on before the award ceremonies.
Any award ceremony.
So if that's what they were going for, fucking nailed it. Because it was bad.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think I really liked Kite Man. Just for the fact I like the hell yeah thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, his little catchphrase or whatever, everything is hell yeah. Plus, yeah, he's kind of a misogynist or whatever.
They build him out a little bit, but it's kind of like if the first thing you do is slap me across the face and then you're an amazing person, I'm always going to be thinking about why the fuck did he slap me? Well, I guess he's going to do that again. You'd be like, hey man, how you doing? I'm like, okay. Yeah,
but but the things that he did wrong, he learned. Because the other thing that now I'm thinking about it in this episode, like Harley's talking about, or not Harley, Ivy's talking about like things that he did when they were together, and then Golden Glider says, yeah, he does, like he makes
the chili.
He makes the chili, but he doesn't put the onions in it because I don't like onions. And she's like, oh, he put onions in mine. She said, yeah, but it's probably because, but he made yours vegan without meat because he knows that you won't eat meat. So it's like he had the Kite Man's famous chili recipe, but he altered it because he's thoughtful of the needs of like whoever it is he's with.
Yeah.
And I liked that about his character. I thought that was neat. I liked the conversation they had where it was like at the beginning of it, Ivy left because she hated being sit at the same table with Kite Man because it was making her uncomfortable. And then she goes outside to sit down by Golden Glider to find out that that is in fact Kite Man's new girlfriend. And then they have the heart-to-heart where basically it leads back around to, you know, don't think of it as being here for you.
Yeah.
It's important to your partner, and that's what you're there for. And we're outside hiding because we're trying to, you know, not be uncomfortable around our exes.
Yeah, Ivy didn't want to be around her ex, and Golden Glide didn't want to be around her boyfriend's ex.
Right. So they're hiding outside on a bench, and then they just happen to come together and had that heart-to-heart. I thought that was great.
And then meanwhile, I like that you have Harley trying to beat up the Terminator to get his...
That whole fight was fucking tight.
It was cool. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, like that whole... Because I like how it was like throwing her around the fucking room, and she's like crashing into stuff. She's like, oh, come on. And then she like punches it, and it does the whole head turn, and then does the quick like Terminator look back. That whole fight was great.
And then in the end, she gets it, but like the hand comes up, grabs it, and brings it over to his mouth, and he eats it or whatever. So in the end, even she loses, even after winning.
Yeah, you still lose.
Yep. So I did like that episode, just for some of the character growth in it, I suppose.
So it came in at 8.2 for the season. So the shocker for me, and it's even got...
Yeah, the Terminator dead on the ground eating the letter.
As it's eating the letter, it's giving her the finger. That's hilarious. I don't know who picked that shot, but it's great. So here's the thing that surprised me. So they're making A Hard Wayne's Gonna Fall.
Yes.
I think is what it was called.
I think that's what it's called too.
And it was Billy Bob Thornton who's playing Thomas Wayne in this movie. And I honestly and truly thought that it was somebody I thought it was Alan Tudyk doing a bad Billy Bob Thornton impression. Just like I wasn't sure that it was fucking James Gunn as James Gunn.
I knew that was James Gunn.
Yeah, but because he's so, like, he's doing so much on those now, and I believe he's got his hands in this show as well.
I think so. I don't know how much. Again, like, I've not looked into who's making the show as much as maybe I probably should have. But again, we watch the show and we talk about it. We don't do a fuck ton of research. So,
yeah, I thought it was just a bad impression. Then find out that it was actually him. It's just like, man.
Kind of funny.
Plus, I think they even did some parts where, like, it was like, I'm Billy Bob Thornton, but I'm really Clayface, who is an actor. Yeah. Like, they had to have, like, melded those two impressions together because if that was him, then they had to drift into that. But bravo. Mm-hmm. I don't know whose idea that was, but it was good. And I like Billy Bob Thornton. He's kind of weirdo.
I don't watch him in much or follow him as a person. It's just kind of like in stuff, and I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever.
Oh, still, my favorite role of him was, yeah. Want me some of them French fried taters. I still think he was good. So that was that one.
Yeah.
Then we have A Thief, a Mole, and Orgy.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked this episode.
It was all right.
So I liked it just for the fact of
the Owl Society.
Yeah. So they do the. What was it? You have to have the mask and you have to have the password. And they're like, it just so happens I have the masks from last year. And he's like, here's the mask. It's like, what's the password? And then I think he whispers it.
Hoot hoot.
Yeah, it's hoot hoot. And she's like, are you fucking kidding me? And then like they get to the door and the guy opens the little thing and she goes, hoot hoot. And he's like, welcome. Like, I thought that shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
Because there's a new game that's about to come out by Rocksteady for...
another Batman one?
Yeah, it's another Batman game. And they're... Maybe... No. I think the Gotham Knights one was actually the one for the Owl Society. Anyways, there's a game coming up that has the Owl Society, and they're supposed to be, like, super secretive, like, almost like the CIA of, like, criminal organizations. They know everything. They see everything. They're supposed to be like super fucking intimidating. This show played them as straight fucking jokes.
Yeah, and this one they're probably the most powerful people in the city, but they get together to bang.
To freak, yeah. And yeah,
Which maybe there's more going. Like maybe they're evil behind the scenes, but like here, there's kind of like, oh, someone complained about the blood or the blood sacrifice, so we've got this stand-in pinata.
yeah, of a child, like the child blood sacrifice. Someone complained about it, so we've got this pinata, and then he stabs the shit out of it.
And pull the red streamers out. It's like, ah, yes, the gods are satisfied.
Which I think is, I think it's a play on the that whole thing. They say it's like a government something grove.
It seems very Illuminati-ish or whatever.
Yeah, there's some grove where they have like a gigantic owl effigy, like that they worship or whatever. Anyways, before I mentioned that, I probably should have remembered what the fuck I was talking about. But I also liked Bane in that episode.
Yeah.
Like, I thought the carbo load. I was carbo loading before the orgy to have my energy up. And then the sandwich does the...
And then he takes a bite out of it anyway.
Yeah. It was great.
It's got good stuff in it. And that also is, I think... Is that the episode where you learn that, like, Batman and Catwoman are a bit, like, actually a thing?
I think so.
And they were going to go... I think this was the episode that was kind of, like, pissing people off on Twitter. Because people were like... And it was Batman was supposed to be performing oral sex on Catwoman, but DC was like, "You can't do that. He's a hero. Heroes don't do that." And then that whole thing took off of like, heroes don't do that, but like this hero does.
I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, it's kind of amusing that they were going to have. I think they even did a play on it, like who was tying her shoes or some shit like that. Mm-hmm. And he came up. Like, it was as if he had just done that.
Okay.
And then kind of playing
And she's bored?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's you can't let Batman do that. Batman, he's a hero. Heroes don't perform oral sex on women.
Okay, so just because you said that, because I guess I didn't realize that, it reminds me of the Pete Holmes sketch.
Okay. Which one?
So it was the one where it was, is it Tasha Al Ghul and Bane? Where like it starts out with Bane beating the shit out of him, and then he's like, "Wait a minute, that means that you and I totally banged." And she's like, "Yeah," and he goes, and she goes, "I'm gonna push this little red button here, and it's gonna make." He's like, "So let me get this straight. You hit that little bad red button just right, and it makes something explode." And then he's like, "I do the ABC on it. I found it. Look, I found the clitoris. I'm the world's greatest detective." If he found it, this Batman should have been able to find it too. That's the only thing it just made me think. I guess I never made that connection. But he's the world's greatest detective. Of course he knows where the clitoris is.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't. But
You're not the world's greatest detective.
No, just I'll have to read his book. But yeah, that was the one where they also said that because I think it was was it Harley that made him in the crowd wearing the mask, and I think they're just having a conversation at first.
It was Gordon did.
Oh, that's right, and he was like, "Wait a minute," and like he does like the hand up or whatever, and he's like,
and you see Bruce being like suspicious, right? Oh shit, he's gonna recognize me as Batman. It's like, it's Bruce Wayne.
Yeah. But I also thought the fun part was funny when Gordon was kicking his phone around the party. He's like, damn it. Shit.
And he's got the flashlight pointed up at everyone's junk.
This is so embarrassing. And then, like, Two-Face goes through it later and he's like, oh my God, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part was really, really funny.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a Swamp Thing. That was probably one of the better episodes to me.
I like it just because Swamp Thing was kind of like the little swamp hippie, and that was kind of funny to me.
Yeah, he had a man bun.
Yeah, the man bun.
Yeah, which was fucking hilarious. But I also, he always is gruff and mysterious and mean in the shows and like in comic book portrayals. But he was like, you have to get in tune with your chakras.
Yeah, so the very modern kind of hipster or whatever. I guess modern in like the 2010s or whatever.
Yeah, he wasn't quite a dude bro, but he had like dude bro haircut.
Yeah, he's just kind of like there to chill, man. It's like everything's cool.
Yeah.
Get in touch with the green or whatever.
Super metrosexual dude.
Yeah.
And I thought that was great.
It was fun. It was different.
Well, I thought it was also funny that they tapped Mr. Freeze's wife.
Nora.
Yeah, Nora, and like she's like a straight up party chick.
Yeah.
She's like was it? She's a Madison.
Yeah, maybe she could be a Madison.
Yeah. What was it? 2 A's and a Y, but it's not.
With 2 N's and a Y.
But it's not where you think. That got on my nerves, but by the end of the episode, I was like, okay, I like her.
Yeah, she's funny.
Yeah.
That was more of like when she was talking to Wong about all the drinks. And it's like, have you ever had this? And he's like, yeah. You had this? No. What about this? I'm like, yeah.
I think I have a bottle of that left over from the wedding.
Yeah, I was just saying. Anyway, this is Harley Quinn, not
Yeah, no.
Not Shulk.
Oh my God, that's what the mouse is like calling lawyers right now on us.
Boop, 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 boop. Don't talk about Marvel during DC.
Yeah, if this episode
It's inevitable.
Inevitable.
Yeah.
If this episode disappears, you know why. But yeah, I thought it was great how he was super happy, and like I think it was only like a day went by, and he was like, talking about like them being together. She's like, no, I'm just having fun, and then he went like straight up psycho.
Yes, I let you inside me.
Him saying that, I let you inside me. That part was fucking hilarious. Okay, so my least favorite episode of the season.
Same here was the Joker, the killing vote.
Yeah, the killing vote. Now
it's not necessarily that it was bad. It's just I didn't need a Joker episode.
Well, I mean, I didn't need the Joker being a PTA fucking parent episode.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's cute, and I think that was supposed to be the appeal of it.
Yeah, and if it was part of something else, I think it would have been different than it getting. It was a story, and that was it.
Yeah. There was very little side story going on in that one.
I guess the A story would be maybe what's going on with Gordon, but that ties directly into the A story anyway. Just about him giving up like a Barbara being like, I'm gonna listen to Two-Face. And then eventually him being like, how would you turn on me? My name is Two-Face.
I feel like you gaslighted me at some point. Yeah, that whole part was great. What I think I appreciated most about the episode was that he needed to get his son into a language course and couldn't. So he had to go talk to a person that he hates and who hates him. That was like a real Karen of the school board or something like that.
Who had her own VIP parking space at the school.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, there'd have to be a vacancy to get you in there. Someone would have to die. And like, he doesn't do it how you would expect the Joker to do it. He actually does it the right way.
Yeah, it's like if you want, there's not enough funding for people, you'd have to be mayor or something like that.
Ah, well, there's always next year. Yeah, you'd have to be mayor to make that happen. So he becomes mayor.
Which I think my favorite subtle joke was around that time when he brought like the dish to her or whatever, and she's like eating it as she's talking, and then he looks back and like dumps it up. He's like, there's bones in this.
God, there's bones in this. Yeah, that part was hilarious. Not much more to say on that episode.
No, I mean, Joker becomes mayor, and at the end of the episode, Harley and Ivy show back up, and they're like, the fuck did we miss?
Yeah. God, I should have watched this again. Like, there were so many little subtle jokes in this season where I was just like, oh my God, that was really funny. Mm-hmm. And now they're just gone. Another Sharkly adventure. This is where it started kind of going off the rails for me. Like, I love Ron Funches, but like seeing the whole, I would even call it C storyline of like him going back and like
with his brother.
I mean, there was a few amusing parts where it's like, you stayed home when Dad was sick and you changed his diapers and stuff, so you should be king. And then later on, where he was like, oh, so you went topside and you avoided all the problems that we were having here. I changed Dad's diapers. We're sharks. We shit while we swim. It had to be bad for him to have to wear diapers. Yeah. Like, I just love that they included that in there.
I think the issue that I have with so I rate this season a little bit less is like pretty much the entire time we've been talking about like Harley and Ivy, because what King Shark and Clayface are up to is pretty much the same exact thing through the entirety of the season. Mostly separate from Harley and Ivy, save for the occasional joke. They're not going like on adventures together. Like in episode 2, when they go on the heist, at least they're together. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I like them all together playing off each other. Whereas in this one, it's Harley and Ivy being cool together, and then Clayface and King Shark off on their own little side thing. I want them all together. That's the fun part for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but it's like, I don't know. It felt like they didn't really do much with them.
Yeah, because what did Clayface do this season? He was an actor.
Yeah, well, he was a chair.
He was a chair, and then then Billy Bob Thornton died, so he took over for him, and he really wants to be Bruce or Thomas Wayne.
Yeah,
he didn't have much other, because he's always been that kind of actor person, but he usually has different characters that he's getting into, like in season 2 when he wants to be Stephanie, and just kind of has other shit going for him. This one, he's only doing the one thing,
right?
And that just seems not as fun for me.
Yeah, it kind of felt like somebody wanted to really focus in on Ivy and Harley's relationship, so they backburnered everybody else.
Yeah, they definitely have to focus on it, which is good. I mean, that's kind of why I'm watching the show. It's called Harley Quinn. I want to see Harley Quinn.
Yeah,
but I want to see some of the side characters that they built up, because my first introduction to King Shark was this show. And then the Suicide Squad movie came out. I'm like, oh, is that how King Shark's supposed to be? kind of the dumb sort of like, I'm King Shark or whatever. I'm like, it's not nearly as cool as the IT. Like, they brought in the shark to be the IT guy, and they're like, oh, I don't fight or whatever. Like, I don't like the scent of blood, or like this. As long as there's no blood around, I'm like, oh, he's kind of a pussy. But when the blood comes up, he ends up going.
He turns into a straight up
a feral shark.
Yeah, a rage eating machine.
Yeah, the blood frenzy.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious.
Yeah.
I think the Stallone King Shark still had his place.
It's good. I mean, it's fine. It's just
he's funny, but he's a brute.
Yeah. Whereas having the really strong, big, brutish guy also be the kind, sensitive one is a bit more off type and humorous to me.
Yeah, it's. I personally should think y'all two should sit down and talk out your differences, but that's just me.
Yeah.
I love
just
you.
Also when people be like, "Hey man, fuck you," and he's like, "Okay, buddy, whatever." He's just kind of like you're not gonna make him angry because he just kind of plays it off or whatever.
Everybody has problems. I'm not judging you or anything. Well, my problems have been for the loss of my parents for the last 30 years. Okay, I'm judging you a little now. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's his character is very hard on his sleeve, very matter of fact. He is probably my second favorite character on the show. I liked Dr. Psycho. I thought he was funny.
He's funny. They play him up as a misogynistic sort of villain guy, and eventually they kind of move away from that. But he still is kind of always.
He's a super douche.
Down. Yeah, he's a fucking douchebag.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's that guy that's more brilliant than everybody else in the room, and he thinks that everybody should follow him. But then they had to point out, I think it was in the second season, they're like, dude, you're a C-lister. Or, you're a B-lister. You're barely a B-lister. You're more of a C-lister. And he's like, yeah, but I'm running around on Harley's gang. They're like, yeah, you're an A-lister because you're in her group.
Yeah.
And then that becomes a problem for him because he wants to be the group leader.
Yeah. He doesn't want to follow a woman or whatever.
Yeah. So, plus I think they kept making a joke about him having an incident with like the 50-foot woman or something like that.
That was his wife.
Yeah.
Well, it's his initial, like, I like that they give a villain. He called Wonder Woman the C word and got canceled. And now none of the villains wanted to touch him anymore, and that's why he got tangled up with Harley Quinn. Which was kind of funny.
She was taking whoever was available at that point.
Yeah.
But I really thought he was great in this season because, like, I think he actually comes in on the Batman Begins Forever episode.
I think you are correct because that's the next. So another Shark Lake Adventures are really much to. I guess you've got more Batgirl and Harley Quinn kind of friendling up a little bit, and she beats Mad Hatter to death just to kind of spite Batgirl, which that one also had a subtle joke I liked. The Mad Hatter's hat was a news boy hat because it's a newsboy and a cowboy hat. So it's kind of like the news cowboy, and then you sandwich newsboy on the side of it and get news cowboy boy hat.
News cowboy boy.
Yeah, it's the hat that the Mad Hatter was going to sell.
Right. That
had the mind control in it. Thing was a newsboy hat.
Right.
And a cowboy hat.
Right.
So they in the product review, it was called the newsboy. It was like news cow or cow news boy hat. Like they jammed both of the words together, but they jammed one in the center of it, so you get news cow boy hat.
Got it.
And that was funny to me because it looked like I looked at the hat. I'm like, is that a newsboy and a cowboy hat?
It was a fucking nightmare, is what it was.
It was fucking gross looking, but he needed all that space to fit his electronics.
So I'm glad you brought him up because the voice of
the Mad Hatter
was Griffin Newman. Now that name is not going to be familiar to you unless you know him from where I know him. He played Arthur in the live action redo of The Tick
okay.
on, was it Prime?
I don't know.
I think it was Prime. But yeah, I thought he did a jam up job as Arthur.
That's like how he had the one long creepy fingernail and Harley kept calling like the pervert.
Coke nail. It was a coke nail, and he's like, "I'm not a pervert.
That's not a pervert.
It's just the way I talk."
For a second, he sniffs Harley's hair, and I was like, whatever. Yeah, not a pervert.
He's a creep.
Yeah, he's a creep.
So, and this episode, I also wanted to point out that the voice of Nightwing from the Bat Family, that was Harvey Gillian. And you might know him from What We Do in the Shadows. He plays Guillermo. And I I love that he's getting work because I actually think he's a pretty good actor.
Yeah, and he was in that second episode, like there's no RV in the team or whatever.
Right.
Where he shows back up as Nightwing and he's trying to be like super dark and be like, man, like the place I'm from is so much more darker than Gotham. And
You're from a place that no one's ever heard of, dude.
It's you're trying to like, I'm not Robin anymore. So he's kind of like overcompensating to be like the boy wonder. It's like I'm not the boy wonder. I'm like dark and brooding.
I'm the new Batman.
Yeah, Batman.
You also had Phil Lamar who played Samson.
Samson?
Huh?
Which one was Samson? Was that the singing guy that worked through?
No, that was Music Meister.
Oh, okay.
And Music Meister was.
He might not have been in this episode. He might have been in last one or something, maybe.
I think he was at the climax at just.
No, he was before that.
Are you sure?
Yeah, he was probably because that was the climax at Jazza Pajizza had Batman unconscious, or he was walking around talking to his dead zombie parents, and Music Meister was in the episode where he tried to work through Bruce Wayne and Catwoman's romantic issues, and that was the episode that they broke up, which probably would have been like the sixth. I would have thought it might have been the 7th episode, but it could have been the 4th episode.
You sure? Because I feel like it would have been right there on top, but it's not.
It's the reason why Batman was depressed and Harley was able to kidnap him in another Sharkboy adventure. So he had to have been depressed before that.
So you think it was this one?
No, because they had him kidnapped in Batman Begins Forever. So I think it would have been...
this one?
No, one more.
This one?
I think it would have been in the Swamp Thing one.
Really? All right, we got to look it up because I remember it was a voice. So Rachel Dratch was Nora Freeze.
Yeah, I recognized her voice, and I don't think her voice works for Nora, but it's still funny. I like Rachel Dratch.
All right, so Larry Owens. I'm not sure who Larry Owens is, but I do like. So when he came on as like in
Music Meister.
Yeah, so Music Meister. When I was introduced to him was in a different show voiced by Neil Patrick Harris.
Okay.
But he has like apparently this trademark gap between his teeth because he had that in this show, and just seeing him in like as a rapper or whatever, a DJ, Amber was like, "Who is that supposed to be?" And I said, "I guarantee you that's Music Meister." And the second he starts singing and they start singing too, Bruce looks over and he's like, "Music Meister," and like they realize that they're gonna have to start singing. I thought that was really kind of funny.
Yeah, very reminiscent of Sweet from Buffy.
Yes. Matt Ryan.
I think Matt Ryan plays Constantine on other things too.
Really?
I think.
Well, he looks very familiar.
I don't know if he's Constantine on like the show, but I think he also, or if it's other animated movies.
DC Showcase, Constantine, yeah.
But I remember when I was reading through some of the trivia, people were like, "Man, they got the guy that plays Constantine to play Constantine."
Yeah, well, apparently on Legends of Tomorrow, he's also John Constantine.
Which is a live action show, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, he's
the Flash, the CW Flash. Yeah, he's John.
Batwoman. He's John Constantine. They got the guy that plays Constantine. That's not Keanu Reeves anyway.
To come
play Constantine.
Well, good for them. Does that mean that those universes align?
No.
No? Boo.
Because, I mean, Harley Quinn was in the Suicide Squad one.
Boo, I say!
Boo! All right. So that's enough about Another Sharkly Adventure.
Yes. Well, hold on. So I got to say one last thing about Another Sharkly Adventure. As I thought it was interesting that his brother was lining up to sell their kingdom to Ocean Master.
Yeah. I like that when he got his helmet knocked off. He was all weird looking and bald or whatever.
Yeah, because he looks super regal with the helmet on.
Oh, yeah, and that comes off and he just looks like sad.
Yeah, and so Gary Anthony Williams is the voice of his brother in that. Now, you're asking, who is Gary Anthony Williams? And I will tell you as I stall.
Because scroll through the list.
Well, I know his face. He's got one of those faces apparently because I'm looking through this and you would not attach that.
Looks like he's got a lot of voice acting credits.
Yes. So, but anyways, he was wonderful in that episode.
Yep.
So we go to Batman Begins Forever. So this was my favorite episode of the season.
This one is really good. I do like this one.
And the reason why I liked it is that they go back to the Joe Chill thing of Bruce's parents getting killed in the alleyway and everything like that. I liked how they got Psycho to go into his mind to try and figure out where JB Smoof's character was.
Yep.
And then they all get trapped within his psyche, and everyone gets pushed out except for Harley.
Yeah.
Because she tried to save the kid.
Yeah, to try to end the cycle or whatever it was.
Yes, but it always keeps happening, and then
the cycle has to continue.
Yeah, so eventually she just snatches Bruce, and is like, if he's not in the area when it happens, then he can't see it. But then she finds out that Joe Chill keeps running them down. I liked the little joke where they were like, what was it? See, I can't remember it now. I said it perfectly last time, but they were like, isn't he like, isn't it Joe Camel? And they're like,
it's Joe. Not Joe Cold. Joel. It was another Joe Cool. It's like, no, it's Joe Chill. I thought that was Joe Camel.
Yeah.
It's like, no, that's the camel that smokes cigarettes.
That's the camel who smokes cigarettes that wanted to get kids to smoke cigarettes.
That's it. The joke I liked in that one was the reference to the fact that, like, hey, we're doing this whole Batman parents died thing again. Like, man, can't he ever get over this? We do really need to see it again.
And then you find out he can't get over this.
Yeah, he can't get over it, and he needs to see it again. Or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of referencing the fact that every time a Batman story is told, we have to watch Batman's parents die again. And the pearls.
Yeah, and it's gotten so much more dramatic. Oh, and then he also says in the episodes, and bats are scary. And they're like, yes, bats are scary.
I like you had references to like whenever she finally goes deeper and starts looking into the windows and seeing that he is in fact Batman. Don't you just think we're around with like a bomb like the '60s one or something like that?
They pretty much lampooned everything. Yeah. So when they first go into his head, it was very the animated adventures.
Yeah, very Bruce Timm animated show vibe.
And it was crazy because, like, as soon as it happened, I was like, holy shit, they're actually doing this. I liked that Joe Chill was a stalker in the episode. You could never get away from him. He was always going to show up. He's always going to kill it. And then when they actually pull back Joe Chill's mask, it's fucking adult Bruce Wayne. Yeah. And he's like, no, I'm the reason my parents got killed. So I'm going to make myself relive this until I feel like I paid penance. And I thought it was funny when he looked at little Bruce and he was like, so we need to get back to our memories so we can eternally suffer through this because this is what we deserve.
Yeah.
That shit was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
But I also like that Harley was like trying to help him work through some of his shit.
She used to be a psychiatrist, so that's fun to say. And you also see the similarities to the episode in which they go into Harley's head, whereas Harley had the repressed memory about Joker pushing her in because she always thought he pushed her in when really she jumped. She made the choice to be Joker's little plaything, whatever. So she had a repressed memory, whereas Batman's got the reversed repressed memory, where the only thing he can think about is what defines him, and everything else is kind of pushed down.
Yeah.
So you kind of got that. She went through it. She's a psychiatrist. She wants to help him get through it.
And I didn't like that they did the whole turn of him bringing back his parents as zombies.
Yeah, that's weird. But...
Like, well, I mean, not only was it weird, but like, I get it. The show is kind of like lampooning Batman and the DC universe and everything like that. But it's like they totally make Bruce Wayne like a total fucking straight punk.
Yeah, he's kind of an idiot.
Yeah, he's an idiot.
It's kind of Batgirl is the smart one of the Bat family.
Well, I mean, I think that's always been like she becomes Oracle, so like she's like Barbara is brilliant.
Yeah. But I mean, also just like the emotionally mature one, the smart one, the one that has all of her shit together,
the one that has the plan,
the one that needs to be leading everybody.
Yeah, like the version that we're getting of Batman in this particular show is the guy who just punches his way through situations.
Yeah.
He seems like he's less of a detective and more of a I show up and just punch you into submission kind of a guy.
At least as the show has evolved, anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's gotten worse.
Yeah.
But then again, we were only seeing him in passing in the first season, and I think a little bit in the second season. He's been much more involved in the third season.
He was in the second. Like, he's the reason. Like in season 1, where Ivy has Riddler put Harley and Batman in a death scenario, so that she'll see if the Joker would pick to save Batman over her because Joker needs to keep fighting Batman because that's what he needs. So you've got Batman in there. You've got Batman at the end where, like, was it Scarecrow pulls off Bruce Wayne's mask, and he's like, "Oh, look at this!" And he's like, "I didn't want to know who he was," so he kills Scarecrow. It's like that takes away the fun of it.
Yeah.
So you've got he's there and he's there in the second one. It's just kind of like in this one they kind of ramp up the craziness for Batman to get to the point where I think they need Batman out so that Harley Quinn can kind of slide in and start becoming the hero or anti-hero.
If you want to watch us actually watch and react to these episodes so we can like get more, could you leave it in the comments? And like seriously, find like 20 of your friends to also leave comments, because I am not going to get him to do that unless y'all tell us that's what y'all want, and then he might consider it.
Just because when I watch a show, I just sit down and watch it.
I know.
I don't do the whoa, listen to this crazy.
Yeah,
but I'm not emotive.
I know, but it's like we make so many funny cutting comments as it's going on. I think that would be enough. Like, we don't have to be like, oh my God, no, he did not.
But we would need to be watching garbage movies, because those are the movies that we cut up. And it doesn't matter if you don't pay attention. Mm-hmm. So if you're not paying attention to like something else, and you miss a part of the story, well, now you're doing it a disservice. I want to sit, I want to watch it, I want to give it a fair shake.
I can agree with that assessment. I'm just saying there's like a lot of fucking jokes that I'm coming back to as we're talking, because remember this part from an earlier season, like him basically blasting that fucking dude for showing Bruce Wayne's face. That part was fucking funny.
It's funny.
And I just did not remember about it until you just mentioned it.
Scarecrow is also Rahul Cooley from iZombie. Did you ever watch iZombie?
No.
Okay.
Nope. Yeah, but you've told me quite a bit about it.
Yeah, he's funny.
But yeah, the Batman Begins Forever. I liked it.
That was good.
I like this episode for the fact of you find out they're still good in Harley.
Mm-hmm. I like the Harley versus old Harley thing at the Rocket.
It was so good, so well animated. Like it was really, really good.
It was just also Kaylee Cuoco doing like that over the top New York accent that she had in the original animated series.
So Arlene Sorkin is the voice of the original Harley Quinn, who is also the first Harley Quinn.
Yeah. Who was made in the animated series. She was supposed to just be the female Joker henchman, but she got popular.
Well, I mean, she's dope, and like I don't know who designed that costume, but like that costume,
I think
it's fucking awesome. But yeah, she had that voice, Mr. J, and like to me, I like Kaylee Cuoco. She's very close.
She's very good.
Very close to the Arlene Sorkin version,
and it's also she's close, but also doing her own thing.
Yes, well, it's the modernization of it. So, like the animated series that show came out
was very
30 years ago.
Yeah, it was. Well, I mean, it's also just very. Batman always kind of had that the 20s aesthetic or whatever, and kind of having that sort of accent was even when it came out in the 90s. That's not a 90s New York accent that you would do. It's more of something akin to like what you'd watch in the old movies.
Okay.
But I mean, that's the way I took. That's how I always took it.
Oh no, that's. I mean, that's perfect. It's some of the voices in the show are difficult for me because I love Alan Tudyk. I do not like his Joker voice.
It's I like it. It's just it's hard to match.
Mark Hamill. And because Mark Hamill's one of those dudes. So you had back in the day, I thought that Jack Nicholson killed Joker.
He was good.
Until I watched Heath Ledger. Now I am certain that character's dead. Like, I'm certain nobody can pick that up after him and fucking do it better. But I also said back in the day, the first time I saw a human rendered in 3D on a computer, back in like
this won't take off.
Yeah, like, no. When I first saw I was like, if this is as good as it gets, then I guess it's pretty cool. Yeah. But this is probably as good as it gets. And now you can't you can't tell the difference. Like lady boys. So climax at Jazzapajizza.
Yeah.
I think that is the stupidest fucking name.
Yeah, it's bad. Well, I like when in the next episode when they have what's his name, John Carlos.
Yes.
Come on, and he's like Jazza. I'm not saying that as Lex Luthor, which I wonder if that was as the actor Giancarlo Esposito. Yeah, that's it. As Lex Luthor come on and I heard about what you did at Jazza, but yeah, I'm not saying that. And I wonder is it the joke that Lex Luthor wouldn't say it, or would Giancarlo Esposito not say it? Which I imagine is probably the former. think it's funny to imagine the latter being like, guys, I'm not saying this.
I hope it's the latter, and they just kept it. They're just like, oh man, that's hilarious. Let's just leave it in.
Yeah.
God, I'm gonna watch director's commentary now to see if that's because now that you said that, I bet that's what it was. This was
This is kind of an action-y one that kind of gets to the point where zombie apocalypse. Harley's gonna go help. Ivy's like, I'm gonna go into the green and learn how to control them so we can end this. And then she's like, well, I mean, they're terraforming Gotham, so I guess it's not what I wanted, but we'll adapt the plan.
Yeah, they're doing what I wanted to do.
It's just not how I wanted it to be done.
Yeah. And so, plus it was getting done faster.
Yeah.
Instead of Frank,
it's here now. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of Frank going through the network and bringing up the plants or whatever, it's already there. So it's like, let's just keep it.
Yes, we'll deal with that.
But it's super fucking evil.
Oh yeah,
like, super evil.
It's barfing on people, turning them into other zombies, which barf and make more plants.
Yeah, they're the fucking they're the Unity. Well, that's gonna fall flat on you because you don't watch that show. But
kill all the women, children, and babies and men, and turn them into the.
Yeah, they had a Rick and Morty episode of a hive mind character named Unity.
Okay.
That used to be one of Rick's old girlfriends, and it's funny because like they in the beginning of the episode they find space salvage. It's like a SOS coming off of a ship, and they're just like, oh, we need to go help those people. And it's like, oh, it's even better than that. If everyone's dead in there, then we own that ship, and we sell it for a lot of money. And when they get on the ship, 5 people from the crew run up and they're like, oh man, you need to help us. Like something's it's taking over people on this ship, and like it's taking over their minds. And he's like, oh, okay. And he's like, well, I just think it's weird that y'all ran out here and told me that whole thing, and you've been hanging out with these other 2 ding dongs back here who aren't even sweating and don't even really be fazed by the whole situation. And those dudes are just hang out in the back, and all of a sudden they go, so he like completely called it from the beginning. But yeah, my favorite thing about this particular episode is the conversation that Ivy has with Joker. Because this was, I think, the episode where
that's the next one.
Is it the next one?
It's the next one.
Okay, well then I'll cover it because it looks like they're actually tied together right there. So I guess that's why I thought that. But anyways.
This is the one where Harley tries to convince Ivy that maybe this isn't the way that... I mean, it sucks that this is... Your plan's not going the way you want it, and maybe this shouldn't happen because, I mean, look at how fucking awful it is.
Yeah, it's the most extreme choice of what you wanted, and this doesn't feel right because you're, when you wanted to cover everything in plants, yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah, and kill all the humans.
Yeah, when you're doing it to, like, execs, because, like, I think it's in the first seasons, like, she's, like, exploding executives.
Yeah, she's pouring chemicals down the throat.
Yeah, on a toxic lake.
Yeah.
Like, when it was that, it was cute, but then you're just hurting people now.
Yeah.
And at this point, Harley got a little taste of the hero life.
Of helping people out, and she likes helping people.
Yeah.
And it's at this point she's finally maybe ready to admit to herself that, like, helping people's pretty cool.
Yeah. So this was a good episode. It was a little weird because, like I said, I didn't like the whole thing of, like, Bruce walking around his zombie parents. They've been like, hey, this is my mom and dad. And they're just like, nah.
Yeah. I'd tell you, mister, I think your dad just ate your cat, and that cat looked expensive.
I mean, you've got childhood things about your parents' death, and I'm not going to judge you on that. We all have little things. Well, I've been using mine for the past 30 years. Okay, I'm judging you a little now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
And I like that Harley saves herself, or sacrifices herself to save Bane.
Yeah, and she's like, oh my God, this fucking hurts so bad. And he's like, Harley, I can't believe you did this to save me.
I can forgive you for the stupid pasta maker now.
Yeah.
It's just that they had Bane in the front for some reason eating a sandwich, and he happens to get saved.
Yeah.
And therefore his entire arc for the season is over. It's like, oh, I can get over it now.
Revenge and sandwiches. That was his 2 shticks this season, apparently. But yeah, that was a cute episode.
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. I liked that one. Okay.
And then they finish out the season with The Horse and the Sparrow. This was a great episode.
This one was good.
Just for the fact that they didn't do the standard trope of we got them together at the beginning of the season and we're going to break them up at the end of the season so we can do that will they won't they thing.
Yeah, we'll get back to the irreconcilable differences or whatever.
Yeah, like I like the fact that it seemed like that was the direction they were going in because
I really thought they were going to.
Well, Harley saw it that way.
Yeah.
So I want this and she does not want this.
If I don't want what you want, you won't have a reason to be with me anymore.
Right. But see, I thought that was interesting because this one episode, as silly as the whole season was the culmination of them both seeing where they're toxic in each other's lives.
And not even necessarily on purpose or whatever.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Like, so I think Harley is doing it because she would rather be miserable with someone than miserable alone.
Yeah.
And that's why she basically goes along with everything.
Or she thinks like the way that you are in a relationship is by doing everything the other person wants, because that's how it was with Joker.
Yeah, if
like,
they're not happy, they don't want to be with you.
Yeah, she's with Ivy. She needs to make sure Ivy is super happy. She wants all of Ivy's goals to be going off and is not worried about what it is that she wants.
Unless it's over the top evil, and then...
Even then, she's not super over the top evil. She found that out in the second season when she was like, people saying I'm not a villain, and so she's going to go to the Doom thing or whatever with what's that guy's Darkseid. It's like, I'm gonna control this army of people and destroy the fucking planet, and just like, I just want to do whatever the fuck I want to do. I don't want to destroy the world and rule people.
Right.
So she's not. Last season you learned she's not like an over the top villain. She's just kind of like a Mad Hatter's a creep. I'm gonna bash his head in with a baseball bat sort of villain.
Yeah, she's I'm gonna remove everybody that's a problem.
Yeah.
There's a lot of problems in Gotham. She's got a lot of cleaning to do.
Yeah.
But I also like that they flipped it on the other side of it, where they were going to go kill Joker, and that they get him tied up in the photo booth, and she's just supposed to do it, and then they just start talking. Because I thought it was interesting when he was like, yeah, does she still do the toilet paper thing? And it's like, oh, she's got the most sensitive butt in the world. And he's like, yeah, I remember that too. And she's like, yeah, it's really funny. Joker says, it's really funny how I was with her and you're with her now and we're doing the same things. And she's like, oh no, we're not doing the same things. And he's like, aren't you though?
Yeah, it's just kind of like, isn't it fun how Ivy's always down for whatever crazy plan you want to do? She's like, that's where you're toxic and I'm not, because she's not just doing this because she wants this too. But it's not.
And he's like, does she though?
Yeah, is it?
Yeah, and then Harley comes in later to find out that he's still alive, and just because this is the plan that needs to happen for Ivy, she like immediately charges in and starts trying to bash his fucking skull in. And Joker's like, she won't kill me. And then she comes in and tries to bash his skull in, and Ivy's having to move Joker around the room with the vines to keep her from doing so.
Harley's ride or die. If she's like, oh, I want to kill the Joker, she will, even if it's something she doesn't want to do.
100%. But I like that the episode came all the way around to that, to where at the end of it, Ivy tells her, Lex wants to hire me for the, the Doom thing. I've got complete autonomy. I can do whatever I want to. I make all the calls. And Harley's like, well, I kind of want to be a hero for a while, and then it's like, well, I guess we can't be together anymore. And Ivy's like, that's crazy. Why would you think that? Because your goals and my goals, because they're different, doesn't mean that we can't be together.
We'll see how that plays. If they do a fourth season, we'll see how that plays out. Because I have a feeling a villain that wants to do awful shit and a person who wants to do good shit, it's going to naturally clash. But I do hope there's a fourth season, and I hope they keep them together interestingly. Because a lot of people, when they write couples things, do that sort of whole will they, won't they, and they keep that shit going on. They always find reasons to keep them apart, and I don't find that stuff compelling because it's super fucking prevalent and very, very played out and tired.
Extremely played out. The thing that I hope that they maintain, so I hope that they give Clayface and King Shark more.
Yes. And hopefully together more often with Harley and Ivy.
Well, I mean, that was the other thing about this season. It was all about... so I think Clayface and King Shark were an item because they're always with each other. So I think the media was just kind of like, oh, they're an item because they're always together. But it was like Harley and Ivy are out doing their own thing, so they're the only ones that...
Yeah, so they're the only two members left of the gang because Dr. Psycho's out.
Yeah, but then they were talking like a couple almost, where it was like, did you do this? Well, I took out the cat and did this stuff, so like they're doing chores together. But it's just because, there's nobody else around at this point. They're still in the gang.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked how they brought it home. I really liked how Harley showed up on the rooftop with the Bat family. Yeah. And Nightwing's like, she can't do this, and he was like, she's like, don't worry, you're still the one on the team that has the best ass. And he's like, let's give her a chance. Yeah. Yeah. Super vain, Dick Grayson, apparently. But, Nick, would you advise someone to watch the third season of Harley Quinn?
I think if you've watched season 1 and 2, it's sure. I don't think there's anything in this season that's going to super upset you. Now, I think maybe you might like it less, but I don't think it's bad. It's still good. I still gave it a fucking 7 because I think it's still good. Whereas you like this one more.
I like that they got into. There are things I didn't like. There are things I did like. Mm-hmm. I agree with you that I do like it more when there's the whole team dynamic and everything. But like, I thought they had some over the top, really funny shit in the season.
Yeah, and I really do like that. There's been a lot of media, I guess, like cartoons or whatever, or TV shows and movies where you see Harley and Joker together, and they're going over that whole relationship, which is toxic. I mean, on purpose, but it's toxic. And they've not done a lot with Harley and Ivy. They've done stuff in the comics, but I like that it's prevalent in the cartoon or whatever, and that's more interesting to me, and I want to see more of that.
Well, I would definitely recommend it to somebody, even if you haven't sat through the first and second season. I'd say it's definitely worth a ride.
Yeah, this is one that you could probably hop in midway through and go on.
Well, I think they're like 30-minute episodes, right?
Yeah, it's 22-ish.
Yeah, so it's not a huge time sink.
No, and this one even has less episodes than the other 2 seasons.
Yeah, so just do yourself a favor, sit down, clench your butt cheeks, and get into an episode. Yeah, and just dive in to the show, because I really and truly, the show is packed with star power.
Yeah, it's good. I can see where some people might not like it, because I think if you're a stickler for the way characters are portrayed.
Oh yeah.
Like if you're in DC and your favorite fucking character is King Shark because he's dumb, and you just like that dumb brute or whatever, and now all of a sudden he's smart and intellectual, and that ruffles your jimmies. If you're not okay with things being shaken up, maybe you might not be into it.
Yeah, no.
If like the Scarecrow is your favorite character and you can't deal with the fact that he gets capped at the end of the first season and you can never see him again because he's fucking dead.
Yeah.
I mean, they will kill off the fucking Penguin and have it be over and done with.
I think they did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they killed Mr. Freeze. I was gonna say Dr. Freeze, but I don't think.
That's why Nora's by herself. Yeah. No.
They'll shake the shit up and kill some people and hang around with some other people.
And they keep the continuity. Like when they die, they did. They did. So, but yeah, go out, watch it, have a good time with it, come back, comment, tell us what you liked and tell us what you didn't like.
I think it's one of the few reasons to have HBO Max.
Agreed. Definitely agreed. There's another show that came on HBO Max recently.
House of Dragons?
Yeah, like I didn't think I was going to be liking that, but it's actually pretty good.
I've not watched any
of it. I know you're not a big Game of Thrones person. But yeah, it's like, watched Game of Thrones, loved that show. Last season was not good.
Do they have different showrunners on House of Dragons, probably?
Yes.
Yeah, that's probably why.
Yeah. So,
shall we put a pin in this one? Because we got about to where we originally recorded, and if for some reason this one ends, you'll never see Harley Quinn talk about on this channel.
No, and I'm sorry that I don't remember as much. Like I was nailing some good stuff last week, but I'm just gonna have to start writing stuff down, because there are like a lot of really funny stuff that I think should have attention drawn to it.
But that's the sad thing is we did draw attention to it. It's just when the episode evaporates.
Oh, maybe it'd be doing us a favor if this episode crashes.
But we also talked about the show differently this time in order to keep it interesting with us. Because we didn't really talk about too much of the same stuff this time. We did, but like the way we handled it this time was different. So
okay,
you've got yourself a replacement Harley Quinn episode, which I think is also top notch. We're very on theme.
Who knows? Maybe we'll be able to locate the episode. Maybe it's tucked away in some folder somewhere.
Oh no, it's
gone.
It did. Flat out didn't record.
What's the matter with you? I tell you that episode did.
It did. All right. So, thanks for watching, everybody.
Come back next time for Willy Wonka and...
Yeah, don't promise.
Old school versus new school. No, you'll never make me watch that fucking Johnny Depp fucking horrible thing. Have a good day.
Bye, everybody.